to create more diverse housing for all. Thank you.
Wonderful. And that actually segues into our next topic perfectly. Do you support a dedicated funding stream for the Affordable Housing Fund?
I will. I want us to talk about this. I think that we definitely need to, I think what we have to do is we have to get through this month, October, when we discuss our fund balance, October 27th to be exact. Once we understand what the financial revenues are looking like for this year, for this past fiscal year, that is, then we're going to better understand what we're looking at for the current fiscal year that we're in, FY22, 21. And then I don't know that I can support any new fees or taxes right now, but I do want us to have discussions on how do we sustain that program going forward. And the good thing about it is if we can create a fee or a tax for that, then that frees up general fund dollars that can be used for other things within the government, which I think is a very important and very broad discussion. And I look forward to it. So.
Wonderful. The next question is, how will you address Lexington's need to increase sustainability initiatives throughout the community? 90 seconds.
Sustainability issues. That's a good one. You know, I think that like the nonprofits, I think that is, you know, a sustainability issue. We have our environment. You know, we want to sustain our environment and make it better going forward. You know, I think what I do is like with each issue, I'll take each issue as it comes forward, and then I will listen and we'll learn. We'll look at the science, we'll look at the research, and then we will hopefully make the best decision going forward to make sure that we can address each and every area that would cover.
Here's another question that we've received from the community. Again, these are all ones that we've received directly and verbatim. This one jumps right at the heart of the matter. There's no subtlety in it. Do you support defunding the Lexington Police Department?
You know, that word is the word defunding. You know, it's a harsh word. And the first thing that I say when people say that to me is, well, if per se you have a business, do you want someone coming and telling you that you're going to defund your business? And I said, I think what we have to do is we have to learn what in our community, in our public safety, that we need to look at how we can collaborate with other areas in our government and in our community with the nonprofits, because I've been talking with the nonprofits a lot lately. And so I don't agree with defunding police. Our community needs public safety. We need it now more than ever, but we do have to be able to hold our public safety officers, fire and police, community corrections, and we have to hold them all accountable. And so I think that I do not agree with defunding, but I do agree with looking at how we can work together to bring more social services into the public safety arena where we need it. Our paramedicine program is outstanding. It just needs to be more robust. And that's the perfect example of where we can put more funding to help with our community.
Great, thank you. And that actually, you're going right with the flow and you don't even know what these are. So this is great. So the next one is actually in relation to nonprofit organizations. So a little bit of a long question, so bear with me. Charitable nonprofit businesses employ 9% of the Lexington Fayette County workforce, which is 14,000 residents, and account for 9.6% of annual wages inside Fayette County, or $674 million. In addition to being major employers, the nonprofit sector also brings significant revenues through tourism, local dining, and retail support. How would you support the nonprofit sector as an employer of choice and as an economic engine in Lexington? You have 90 seconds.
Thank you. Well, I actually had a talk with the Kentucky Nonprofit Network this morning, a couple of people from that group, and then I have been meeting with them, not every single week that they've been meeting, but I have been having conversations with them because they are very valuable. And so I think what we can do is we need to understand The statistics I believe that you stated were from the 2017 U.S. Census, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I would like to find more accurate, more current statistics. And so I think that we have opportunity to really look into that, and just so that we can bring an awareness to the community and to the government and local elected officials, just what type of a partner that our nonprofits are in our community. You know, every day I go about my whatever different topics I deal with, but each day I learn something new, and I try to make sure that I educate everybody that I'm talking to about other things that, because I think that we have this opportunity right now where we have a lot of ears. People are listening, and I think we need to collaborate with each other. And I think there are many opportunities that are before us, and I look forward to having lots of more conversations down the road. So.
Thank you. So now we're going to move on to a couple questions from our coalition. We only have a few more questions. This is just flies by. Half hour flies by like that. And somehow the days seem to take so long. I don't know what that is. So the first question is in relation to the budget, which we've kind of danced around a little bit in the past few questions, but we want to go right to the heart of it. So in recent years, our city's budget obligations have outpaced our ability to generate revenue. And this is even before the COVID-19 epidemic. Before COVID-19, we were projected to have a $29 million deficit by fiscal year 23. And in the fiscal year 2021 budget, there have had to be significant reductions. And it's impacted everything from community development and economic development funding to social services. What strategies do you recommend to address these revenue shortages while also balancing how we spend our money and how we prioritize?
Right. And I kind of addressed a little bit of this a minute ago with the affordable housing thinking. But first, what I want to say is our state statutes prohibit local governments from being able to have your own mines and setting your own revenue options. I want that to change. I think it needs to change. I think it has to change. We know our communities best. Not saying anything against the state legislators, but you know, we're the ones that are managing our own budgets. And so I have said that I would be in favor of local options sales tax. And then I've even said that I would be in favor of a restaurant tax, maybe small increments. However, right now, again, during this time, while there are many people that are really having a hard time financially, it's not the time to do it, but we can talk about it in the coming years. I think that a way that I was talking about the affordable housing, when we could create a fee that would help sustain the affordable housing, and then I think that then frees up general fund monies, which we can use for other areas of local government. But I do think we're going to have some hard discussions in the next 2 years, and I'm ready for them. And you know, I'm sitting at the table with everybody else, ready to go and see what we need to do and make the hard decisions. So,
thank you. Yeah, no one is envious of the position that you all are in with the city's budget. So we only actually have time for 2 more questions. So I'm going to skip a couple here and talk about 2 things that are on the top of a lot of folks' minds right now. The first one is in relation to public participation, which is obviously a real concern for us over here at Simplify. So Lexington has temporarily suspended public comment and public Zoom meetings, and you all are experimenting with potential hybrid models for having some council meetings be partially digital and partially in person. But public comment hasn't been accessible to everyone for a long time. Yes. And meaningful public participation is absolutely vital to having a responsive local government. So what strategies would you support to make ongoing public participation accessible for all, even after the COVID-19 pandemic has ended?
Sure. Well, for instance, last Tuesday, we had I believe that was when we had a hybrid test. And I had actually sent an email out the week before that to all the administration. In my former capacity, we dealt with other cities across the United States and worldly too. So I had reached out to some of them to see what methods they were using. And one particular, Asheville, North Carolina, they actually have a dedicated 81800 number. And so you can leave a message on that number, and then it gets transcribed and sent automatically to the council and to the administration. But it's also for the permanent records, like with the council meetings, it can be included in that permanent record. And the same thing can happen with dedicated email addresses. And so the administration is looking into that right now. I realize that we have to understand about the hybrid versus just virtual. And I truly want us to be able to have public comment. Lord knows it's very important to me. And that's one of the reasons why that I have not moved forward, like the short-term rentals discussion and a zone change public hearing. That's a very important one in my council district. And so I have suggested that we hold off on those until we figure out this process, because I'm not going to let something go forward that needs to have public transparency and public comment, public input. So I feel like that we're getting closer every day, and I am hopeful that by the next council meeting, we'll have something in place. I hope.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I know it is a terribly tricky thing to resolve, right?
It is. And so, nobody wants to listen to the trolls. I mean, we just can't let our public and community have to take that in. That's just not necessary. No.
So actually, that touches really well on my last question, and it's a question related to issues of racial justice in our community. And given your understanding of Lexington's long and complicated history around racial injustices, what do you plan to do to directly address inequality and its root causes in our city? And 90 seconds. Will be the last question.
Well, this is a big one. And you know what I first say is first, we need to make sure that everybody realizes that we have systemic racism in Lexington, Kentucky. There's no doubt it is here. And we have to acknowledge that, and we have to accept it. And then once you accept something, then you can move forward and you can actually work on it. The mayor's racial equality and commission, I know the justice and racial equality commission, I've watched several of those subcommittees, and I'm anxious for the recommendations. They're going to come out the end of this month. And I know that some of them need to be addressed by the mayor, and some will be addressed and discussed amongst my colleagues and myself. But what I want to do is I really want to take that information and then look at how are we going to continue having dialogue and intentional dialogue with everybody at the table, so that we can keep the conversations going and actually see improvements and changes on things that are of concern in our community. And so I look forward to that. I'm being very patient, but I am anxious for those recommendations to come out, as is everyone else in this community. And I do look forward to having dialogue with my district and our community as a whole. And I am hopeful that we are going to be able to bring our community together, and we are going to be able to stop systemic racism in Lexington, Fayette County.
Well, thank you so much, Councilmember Lamb, for being here. We've reached the end of our time. And again, I do want to thank you. It is certainly not a requirement for council members that are running unopposed to come in and have this short conversation with us. So we want to thank you so much for giving us some of your time.
Well, thank you all for doing this, and thank you for inviting me. This is an important part of our democracy, and I think that's why it's so important to me that we participate, because our job's never done. So thank you all so much for having this. Thank you.
Thank you. For those people that are with us on Facebook Live, or I can't see how many people are in here. Seems like most people are on Facebook Live. But we'll take a short break, and we'll be back in about 8 minutes with a conversation with the unopposed 6th District candidate David Kloiber in just a minute. So you're welcome to hang out here and listen to this, this weird video with music that we have. We're all tired of hearing this music if you've watched a number of these parts. So thank you again, Councilmember Lamb. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.